talk to us about these important matches, we are now joined by my colleague Mawande Mateza, who has left the studio, and of course he is now talking to respected figures in the football industry, and of course he is with SABC sports senior journalist Velile Mnyandu for more on this. Mawande, what's happening where you are at Soccer City?
Hi there, thank you very much, Mbali. Yeah, we are in the Nazareth precinct, outside of the F&B Stadium, where we are preparing to watch a very big match tonight, the UEFA Champions League final between PSG as well as Inter Milan. It's a weekend of very big finals this weekend, as we're also preparing to see the Caf Champions League final second leg, that is between Mamelodi Sundowns and Pyramids FC in Cairo tomorrow evening. And that's really what I want to talk about tonight, and I am joined by football performance analyst Sinesipho Mali, as well as SABC sports football expert Velile Mnyandu, to have a chat a little bit about that game that is happening tomorrow evening. Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Mawande.
I want to start with you, Sinesipho, with Mamelodi Sundowns. Now, a lot of people were talking about Sundowns conceding late in that game in the first leg last week. What can Mamelodi Sundowns do tomorrow to make sure that they end up on the winning side?
I think there's no doubt the experience those players have in terms of matches of that magnitude, matches of that level. It's going to be more mental more than anything for them. Of course, the technical aspects are key, but the mentality that goes into the game and a strong defensive performance and being very clinical offensively to finish off their chances. I have no doubt that they have the quality and the mentality to do it, because I've worked with most of them in the national team. So I believe that they will bring it home. I hope that Tebogo Mokoena will pull a Tebogo Mokoena as usual.
I know that you're a man with the finer details in big matches such as this. What do you think Miguel Cardoso would have worked on the most going into tomorrow's game?
Yeah, it's important that they have to keep a clean sheet away, and also the precision in terms of their offensive actions. You know, what we've seen with Cardoso, what is done in this Mamelodi Sundowns team is increased what I always call tactical unpredictability. You know, in terms of how they play offensively, they have so many possibilities. They can go directly in behind you. They can look. They are still a possession-based team, and they are still very, very clinical in terms of offensive transition. You know, so they are a team that is now a little bit unpredictable in terms of how they set up from a tactical point of view. So I believe that the coach with his experience will know how important is the defensive performance, but also will know how important it is for them to be clinical to finish off their chances.
Velile, I want to bring you in because I know you've spent a lot of time in Cairo over the last couple of weeks, and a lot of time with both the Amachita as well as the Caf Champions League semi-finals a little bit earlier than that. Pyramids now is talked about a team without too many supporters, and Mamelodi Sundowns are probably not anticipating that hostile environment that South African teams are used to in North Africa. Will that be an advantage for them?
I think Sundowns, Mawande, is used to any kind of an environment, especially when it comes to North Africa and Egypt in particular. You will recall that the last time Sundowns won this title, we were in Alexandria at Al-Akhabok Stadium, and it was a packed venue. 4 hours before the game, 80% of the venue was packed, and more than 70,000 people were inside the stadium. So I don't think they are moved by this. When we were at the Cairo International Stadium recently, it was packed to the rafters there, and still you could see Sundowns winning at the end, or at least going through. But I understand that there are challenges when it comes to tomorrow's game. Apparently they are struggling to get the government to authorize the selling of the tickets. As you know, that there are some serious safety and security issues in Egypt, especially around the issues of the ultras, and that is besides the fact that this team doesn't have fans at all.
And moving on to the field, Pyramids conceded a couple of goals in the semi-final second leg against Orlando Pirates in Cairo. They're a team known to concede, and Mamelodi Sundowns is very good at scoring goals. So are we anticipating more of an open match with possibly quite a lot of goals tomorrow?
I think what is important is the issue of the away goal. the away goal rule at this stage favors pyramids. But knowing their coach, and I've just heard him even today in the matchday -1 press conference saying that they are an offensive team, especially at home. And if you look, this is a team that doesn't really have a good record on the road, but at home they've won almost all their matches, especially in this competition. But I think Orlando Pirates proved that you can breach their defense and you can score against them. All that Sundowns needs tomorrow is an early goal, because you get an early goal, they cancel what happened here, and it becomes a new game altogether. And I do believe that Sundowns, as Sinesipho has just said, that they've got the personnel to do everything that they want tomorrow.
And it's on the personnel that I want to talk about next, because a lot of the talk this past week has been on the fact that, for instance, Themba Zwane didn't get to feature in that match. I know he was coming back from an injury. He's only recently returned to full competitive action. What do you think the lineup will sort of look like, or have an idea of?
I think tomorrow the lineup will have to be slightly different from how they started. And I was listening to an Egyptian journalist, and now you must know that Egyptian journalists, they know Sundowns very well, and they feel that Coach Caroso, remember, they know him also from last season when he was coaching Esperance, that they felt that he was a bit more conservative, and he will have to come out differently tomorrow. We spoke to Coach Hugo Bruce, and his feeling is that maybe Themba has not been starting. They're saying Themba has not been starting because he's just returned from an ACL, and now you know that the expert here next to me, he will know that an ACL is something that is serious. You don't just walk back into a starting lineup after that. But I think desperate times call for desperate measures.
And to you, Sinesipho, now a match like this, it's the culmination of a very long season that started all the way back in August for Mamelodi Sundowns. There's a lot of matches that the players have in their legs. So do you take into consideration when preparing for a match like this that, you know, maybe you don't go all out too early so that you have enough if the match, for instance, goes up to 120 minutes in extra time?
You know, in matches like this, you want a strong start, and you want to have your strongest players of that magnitude, players at that level are conditioned to be able to maintain the quality of their football actions for the whole duration of the match, 90 minutes plus. So there's no excuse in terms of that. Teams like that, they are built to win, and those players have the mentality, and they're always looking to win. So I think they will always look to have a strong start, and definitely I think they'll bring it home. I have a good feeling that they're going to bring it home. I trust them. I trust those players. I know what they can do. I've seen them doing big things in big competitions, in big and special matches. I hope that they bring it home.
Velile, I'm not going to put you on the line and ask you for a prediction, but I do want to talk about tonight's match. Two teams that are possibly not a lot of people would have thought that they'd both make it into the final, especially considering, for instance, who Inter Milan have come up against leading up into tonight.
Yeah, no, I just want to say that Sundowns, is important that they go to the Club World Cup as African champion. That I think that's possible. Yes. When it comes to tonight, well, look, both my teams they went out in the semi-finals. So tonight I'm supporting Sinesipho because his friend is with PSG, and I think it's always something interesting to get a team to be called a new champion. And I think for me, PSG, and not because I'm an AC Milan fan, but I think PSG and also Coach Luis Enrique, I'm with him here.
As Sinesipho, you have this PSG connection as well. I don't know if you're a superstitious man, but the last 4 times that a final has been played in Munich, a first-time winner has been crowned, dating back to Chelsea in 2012, with Borussia Dortmund in 97 and Marseille in 1993. Does that sort of thing factor into anyone's mind or decision-making when predicting or going into a match like this?
Yeah, of course. That is a big factor. It's a very interesting stat. And I really hope that PSG wins it. Like Velile said, I've had a privilege of being in the same class in 2023 with the assistant sporting director Johan Kabai, you know, and so I know exactly where they come from a sporting directory strategy perspective. You know how they've actually changed their model to try and still a team with heavy investment, but their approach from a recruitment point has been quite interesting and has brought them to where they are today. So somebody that I'm close with, I engage a lot with. I really hope, and I know what this will mean to Johan for them to win the Champions League, because it means all this the work that they've done from a recruitment sporting directory strategic point of view would have reaped the rewards.
And the oil money money.
The
old money.
But now it's money, also with strategy.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us. Thank you. Back to you, Mbali.
All right, that's Full View anchor there, Mawande Mateza, coming to us live from Soccer City, just giving us the expectations of many, especially when it comes to the predictions of that UEFA Champions League final.